I am so excited to be welcoming my dear, dear friend, Alan Steinfeld, to be speaking next. And, you know, all of you guys here know Alan, and he truly is an explorer of consciousness ever since he was a small child. And for over 30 years, he's hosted and produced the weekly television series, New Realities. He has over 70,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he has interviewed all of the luminaries in the field of health, spirituality, and UFOs, such as Deepak Chopra, Ram Dass, Marianne Williamson, and he really does inform millions through his website, lectures, YouTube videos, and weekly TV programs. And Alan is also the author of Making Contact, Preparing for the New Realities of Extraterrestrial Existence. And Alan has just been on the leading edge of bringing forth all new realities and galactic information and the forefront of spirituality, health, and wellness for all of us, and really has paved the way for what we're doing here today as part of this Ultimate Light Being Conference. So, Alan, we're so excited to have you here as part of, you know, the Ultimate Star Being Conference. Thank you so much. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm excited to hear it too, because I never know what I'm going to say. So, but if this is the Ultimate Star Being Conference, we have to understand what it is. Like, so stick around, Tangela, because I'll ask you questions. Oh, if you want.
Okay, that's fine.
No, because what does it mean to be a star being, right? I mean, I like to dialogue a little bit, and we are star beings. The universe is not out there. It's right here. So how do we understand who we are? I think this is why the spirituality and the whole ET star being issue is so intertwined, because we are star beings. We are made of stardust. I love that Joni Mitchell's song where she says we are gold and we are stardust. Because what is the nature? Why did we incarnate here? I think I talked about this the other day. Why do you think we're here, Tangela? Tell me. Why do you think? Yeah.
Well, we're here, you know, from my perspective, we are conscious, you know, we are frequencies. We're frequencies of consciousness, and we are here experiencing the human form in all of its density of that it is. And we're also here evolving the human form from the density with which we have, from which we have come into higher and higher levels of consciousness. And we're doing this simultaneously across all of the interdimensional and multidimensional realms. You know, so when we're speaking about our galactic selves, it is so far beyond the linear way we described it, you know, in terms of our past lives, present lives. It's all simultaneously occurring. And we have this, basically this cosmic soup of who we are, shifting and learning and developing. And one of those, one of the elements of that is our human form, where we are here to ascend together.
That is beautiful. No, that is a great way of understanding this essence that we are. Right now, I think we're in a moment where the past is rolling itself up. It's like we can hold on to the past, you can hold on to your history, but you're not, the future doesn't lie in the past. It lies beyond what we have known. So to be the star beings that we are, we have to open our minds to the impossible, the unlikely, the something beyond imagination. If we can imagine it, it's okay, but we're meeting the wave of existence each moment as it filters through our consciousness. It's pouring into us, and we're meeting it. We're meeting it with presence. So I think the more present we are, the more we become the star beings that we are encoded as being, you know, but we have to be present to meet this. So I'm going to show a few slides. Can I show some slides here?
Yeah. Sure. And I just love what you said, Alan, because it's so true. We are encoded, and what we are going to be creating together is beyond our imagination. So
it has to be beyond our imagination, because if it's our imagination, it's already, well, it's not old, but it's already been done. Something unknown is being filtered into our consciousness. This is why I love talking to Raquel Springs, because she is bringing not exactly what's coming, but a kind of map to measure the moment of existence as our relationship to the stars. So do you see this on your screen here?
Yeah.
We
Yes, I
see,
can
could you
it.
do
Full
full
screen?
screen for the slideshow? Yeah, start
I
slideshow.
know. I don't know what I'm going to say next, but I'll do that for you, Nick. No, the responsibility of your life and your world is yours. It's not been forced upon you by some outside agency, although people think it has been. You know, I think we have been kept from the truth by forces that don't want us to know that we are the manifestors of reality. But if you can know that we're here to overcome the limitations and start to live by your dreams, you form your own dreams, you form your own physical reality. The world is what you are. If we can take that more on as a way of understanding the world, not being victims to the world, but being the great mind. You know, these ETs, they're not greater than us. They're just more aware of the ultimate realities. So the world we make is ours. The world is ours. It has to do with the feelings that we are. The world is a physical materialization of our inner self, which has formed it. I love that saying because this the mind is all and the all is mind is what the ancient teachings of the Kabbalion said. So this is all a projection of our mind. And how do you relate to your mind? Do you love it or do you resist it? This is sort of the challenge of our time. So let me just go on to the next slide. Now, what's important about time, space, and gravity is that density creates gravitational waves. The power of consciousness, it can distort our time-space continuum. So thoughts are things. They actually are things. And the greater the power of your thought, the more capable it is bending time and space. Just like mass, this is, in a sense, what I think Einstein discovered. There's no gravity per se. It's the power of mass to intersect with the time-space matrix. So the heavier the mass, the more it distorts time and space. This distortion here is of space, but gravity also distorts time, or mass also distorts time. And that has to do with the power of our thoughts. Since thoughts are things, the more powerful the thought, the more the ability to distort time and space. So just think, when you're deep in creation, when you're creating things, time stands still. That's not an illusion. That's not something you imagine. Time is a fabrication of the intensity of the mind. And this is what makes some of those ETs different than us, because they know that. It's not just that it's all consciousness. Consciousness is able to be manipulated by, I want to say mental capacity. It's more than mental capacity. It's the application of consciousness. It's like these huge systems of time, space, like galaxies. There is a distortion that happens in the field, but we are just as powerful. We are capable of creating our own galactic field. That's part of why I'm bringing out these slides. So if we all get together and focus on one thought or one intention, that intention creates a warping in time space. It creates a gravitational field. We've been so at odds with each other that we haven't had a chance to unify our star beingness and focus on creating the time-space continuum that we want to live by. So that's a big part of understanding the power of who we are. So I talk about this way of cognizing the world. So that's an old lecture, but I'm going to talk about some of this. So there's the cosmos and the chaos. So we come into this world and it's chaos. There's nothing we can understand. We are taught to distinguish reality. We're taught to distinguish things. We're taught words, and words then define the world around us. And if we didn't have those words as distinction, it would be chaos, but it wouldn't be unknown. There's ways of perceiving in the chaos if you come to center. So you can be both in the cosmos, which means order, and you could be in the chaos, which means you're moving in the flow of the unknown. The unknown is it's chaos, but it's not chaotic. There's a structure to the unknown as we surf time and space. So it also has to do with apprehension and comprehension. When you comprehend something, you collapse the wave function. You collapse it into form, and you say, I know what this is. When you apprehend something, everything is fluid. Everything is turning into something else. And this is what the time of the sixth sun is all about, as Neil talks about the sixth sun. It's moving from the tonal to the nagual. This is terms Carlos Castaneda uses. The tonal is the concrete world of Newtonian physics. The nagual is the world of quantum physics, where there are no particles, there are only waves. And when there are only waves, it's hard to comprehend something, but you can apprehend it. When you comprehend, you say, this is it. I understand that. And it's nothing wrong with comprehension, but apprehension opens the field to a lot wider view. So we're here to cognize, cognition versus recognition. If the world is new, then there's, in a sense, there's no recognition of things. Recognition only comes from recognizing things. But there's a way of surfing into the unknown, is the only way I can describe it. It's that wide-eyed view where there's not a focus of a particular thing, but it's all existence. That's a visual way of understanding. But if you take in all existence, or all the things that you're aware of, and don't make distinctions, then you're living in the field of apprehension. You're not collapsing the wave function. All things are possible. There's an old saying by these Taoist masters that it says, I think he called himself the ninth Zen patriarch. It's what does he say? That the great way is not difficult for those who have no distinctions, but make the slightest distinctions and heaven and earth collapse. They fall apart. So like you're living in a world, I'm not saying as opposed to making distinctions, we have to live in both worlds, but if you live in the field of wave, of form, of energy, without making distinctions of the left brain, then things can flow at the rate of the speed of light into our conscious field. So out of information comes formations, formation, and then information is the coming in of our consciousness of distinctions, of forms that becomes for information, because we're taking in information. But without information, everything is just form and formlessness. And I'm just trying to reach beyond the static way of seeing the world to be more like the star beings that I've encountered, which were more formless, they were more abstract, they were more energetic, they were less concrete in their essence. They're teaching us to be that. So conceptions versus perception. Perceptions are the visible access to the world around us. Conceptions is your mind about what's there. When you conceive, when you conceptualize, let me just see what else is in here. Okay. This quote gets us more into where the latest, and if you're listening to yesterday's panels about the experiencers and disclosure, this thing that we're calling extraterrestrial or even star beings may not be what it is. It may be the distinctions we make in order to make sense of the world. I love this quote by Terence McKenna. He says that we are part of a symbiotic relationship with something which disguises itself, I wouldn't say as an extraterrestrial invasion, but an extraterrestrial presence so as not to alarm us, meaning what we're calling star beings are beyond the stars. They're beyond what we right now can say, oh, I know what this is. This is just my feeling. So there's something interfacing with our awareness that if we label it star beings, which they might be, we limit the possibility of what they are and what we are. I say, let's drop out of the distinction of labels and let's see how the infinite interplays with our consciousness. That's sort of where I'm coming from. I wrote this book, Making Contact. Let's see. This quote I really like. Since everything in nature answers to a moral power, he means moral power means I would say the ability for us to discern. But any phenomena that remains brute and dark, which means unknown, it's that the corresponding faculty in the observer is not yet active. So we're getting downloads from a lot of different beings, but our ability to cognize the messages haven't been activated. For some people, of course, it has, and a lot of those people are here today. But for some people, we're just learning how to cognize these interchanges with what's ever out there. So Robert Lawler is someone else I want to make people aware of. He talks about another race of star beings that we have to be aware of, and they're called the Archons.
Archons are a interplanetary species. They evolved on the now destroyed 5th planet. And remember, the Earth means terrestrial.
Okay, sorry.
It means the TR is the root of 3, and 3 is the first number. And so the Earth is the 3rd planet, but the Earth process, I believe, was undertaken on 3 planets, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th.
I mean, the human species.
Yeah. And probably the 5th planet, being that is the planet of the golden mean, and also the 5 sensibilities of human and the 5 senses, and it's not only the shape of the human body, but the shape of human consciousness. The 5. Yeah. And we have 5 elements of teeth, tongue, palate, and lips for speech. We're a 5-fold creature. And so the Archons were born on the 5th planet, and they advance more rapidly. The intelligence is that planet was devoted to that, and Mars was the emotional, physical planet. Yeah. And the Earth was the spiritual. And on the internet now, that I've seen photographs from what they've gotten from NASA, and there's city plans on Mars.
Well, obviously, Mars had a civilization. You
Yeah.
can see by the remnants of the pyramids that face on Mars. But the Archons, what happened with them?
They developed their technology. The development of the intelligence was so great that they made technologies that destroyed their planet.
And how did their consciousness interrupt our human cycle?
They, when they destroyed their home planet, they had to inhabit a second planet. And that planet also was deficient in minerals. And so they have been mining the earth and using people as sort of soldiers and slaves process, and they genetically modified the development of humanity and changed it from being really a reflection of the earth. We no longer identify ourselves as humans. I mean, no species goes around and killing other species over a few words in a book. And, it's so bizarre. We are no longer fully human. We're no longer earthlings because of this modification. And this is why this Kali Yuga has we will gain very valuable experience from going through this. It maybe the next time around, and we confront the potentialities of focusing on the manipulation of the material world to serve our desires and needs and enjoyments. We won't choose the technological way of doing it. We'll, at some point, we'll have to understand we have to be born fully through the earth to fulfill the goal.
But we didn't have a choice, did we? Because this thing
No,
invaded our consciousness.
That's right. I mean, this is the cycle we've had to go through, and we should be learning from this archonic manipulation, not to ever allow this force to overtake us again. The natural
oh, here's a little ending here.
world is infinitely malleable. However, when a civilization centers itself upon the manipulation and exploitation of matter, it is a certain sign of degeneracy.
Right. So this is our challenge at this time. This is our challenge, is to be fully human. This is what our star being mission. We're here on Earth to embrace humanity. That is our abilities, which makes us human, to feel, to love, to send out healing energies. It's not about the manipulation of the physical world as much as living in the center of who we are. We're here to be terrestrials in a way. Of course, we're star beings, but we've come on this mission to embody our earth beingness. And that's the key, I feel, to our awakening as star beings. We're never going to awaken as star beings until we become earth beings. The earth beings are the feeling, loving beings that are looked to by the cosmos. Just want to play one more clip of somebody who I really respect, who's talking about that we've been enslaved to not to know ourselves, and we've been kept from the truth. And this is an interview I did, a little clip from my interview with Linda Moulton Howe, who talks about this time of freedom and this time where we are here to wake up to who we really are. So let me just click this and this and this. And headline, we're not alone in the, I asked her, what if we get that headline that she's pushing for? What if we're not alone in the universe? What does that mean for the population of the planet and for you and the history of civilization?
Finally, a truth. As simple as that. If you look back 5,000 years or 12,000 to Göbekli Tepe, and you look at the history of this planet, is demonstrably one in which Homo sapiens sapiens is abused. Because from my point of view, if you are a civilization that evolves for 12,000 years, and you are always under the thumb of another intelligence that manipulates you, and that humans are never, ever talked to, communicated honestly, then we are today in the 21st century, 12,000 years later. We are an abused species.
Okay. And I just go here to
Up. Once that boulder starts going, the whole planet changes in relationship to this universe, and the understanding that there's probably an infinite number of universes, infinite number of timelines, infinite number of dimensions, and that we, without consciousness, we're tearing into other consciousnesses and dimensions in World War II with the atomic bomb.
And we could now solve those issues and move forward as a real intelligent civilization that's meeting these beings on an equal footing. That's what I feel.
That would be my prayer.
Yes, that is and then I'm just going to end with this little meditation here. Okay, I think I have another 5 minutes, right, Neil? Okay, and now if you have any questions about anything.
Yes, you do.
Okay, great, thanks. So here's like this thing I did. Here we go. As our mind becomes more conscious, as we become more aware of the capacities of consciousness, this is bringing on what we're calling the close encounter experience, because maybe these beings are connected to an evolutionary awareness that brings in a new level of cognition. The experience of contact with non-intelligence is the key that will open the door to understanding consciousness. So this is why there's this threefold aspect to this question. There's quantum physics, there's consciousness, and they're UFOs, and I think they're all related on some level. So one thing the visitors do by accessing quantum physics is not collapsing the wave function, so they don't create a definitive place in time and space, but live in a multiplicity of superpositions. When you're accessing these other positions, you're in hyperdimensionality. So we need to think that way. And our thinking has become concretized in comprehension. We need to think in a higher level. We need to think abstractly. Quantum physics lead to this new understanding, this new level of meaning means we need to think in the abstract. This apprehension versus comprehension. These are what I feel the levels of quantum physics lead to. This new understanding, this new level of meaning means we need to think in the abstract. Abstract thinking means letting go of concrete ways, the ability to be abstract. It was the key to our survival. I put this key aspect right in the title of my book. Mara Jones. Okay. As our mind becomes more, and use of the asterisk bestows a variety of associations, such as a distant star, the possible origins of an extraterrestrial existence, or it could mean a new star is rising over the ill-fated stars of the past. On another level, that asterisk placed between making and contact is like the center point of a compass, representing the way consciousness reaches out in all directions. Whatever your association to the asterisk is, it is the initiation into a new way of knowing. That symbol has a nonverbal communication from mind to mind. It is the point of contact. Perhaps we'll realize one day that who and what we are making contact with is ourselves. So getting back to that. So this, if you see the title of this book, Making Asterisk Contact, that asterisk, which actually means little star, is the summation of that whole book. That star, whatever, because the world is symbolic. The world is made of symbols. Even words are symbols, sounds are symbols. So if we understand, or not even understand, I'm not talking about not understanding. I'm just saying understanding is part of it. Feeling is the other part of it. We need to be whole brain. Symbols talk to our higher intellect. So symbols, symbolic thinking, the world around, people in your lives, you know, they're symbols to the the emotional body and to the soul, because the soul is here to understand the nature of reality by having experience, and it's experience that is then owned by the soul, which starts the wave of ascension. When you can own, when I say you complete a certain level of experience, that is found as wisdom in the soul. Your soul owns that human realm, that part, and when you can look at it all, I said this the other day, and be at peace with all of it, then there's a biophotonic resonance that happens within the DNA that starts to accelerate the physical body, so you can bring in more of reality. I think Sandra Walter will talk a little bit more about that. But so, Joan, does that understandable?
That was just brilliant. Every time I hear you speak about this, Linda, what I was really thinking was, it's the extraterrestrials that actually know the history of planet Earth. They are about the only record or beings that actually have seen the entire history of our planet. And even them are kept from us.
Well, that's why they're only going to tell us when we can reach a level where we can talk to them. If we keep, dividing ourselves, making war, shutting off parts of our mind, being obsessed with materiality, there's nothing wrong with materiality, but if that's your obsession, then that keeps you from knowing the greater mind. We're material beings, and it's great to be material, physical, but we are at the threshold, Joan, of this new way of being, this new sense, right?
No, we are. It's just not us perceiving the ETs. We actually are incorporating them within our body and in our consciousness. And we have far more information, I think, than the governments in the world that are looking at it from that particular point of view. So thank you so much for all you do, Alan. You are so appreciated on this planet. I know we always love on our speakers, and I just want to love on you. You bring such sophistication. You just bring everything juicy to the table.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm trying to understand something that I think hasn't been understood in this way we're evolving into. We need to use our minds and consciousness in new ways, and we have to undo the conditioning of our limitations that have been so imposed upon us, right?
Right, we're breaking out of a mold of what we were supposed to be like as complacent humans, and we're opening up our consciousness and waking up to our galactic selves. Very brilliant, and I appreciate you so much.